I love this trilogy, and the first one is my favorite. Let's do it. X takes place in 1979, and it opens up with these police officers investigating this crime scene at this farmhouse where there's multiple dead bodies. We see them go into the basement and find something shocking, but we don't yet see what it is. We then cut to 24 hours prior, and we meet our main character, Maxine, who is a burlesque dancer, but she wants to be a star. Maxine, along with a group of people, are going to film a porno. So the group consists of Maxine and her boyfriend Wayne, who's a producer, another burlesque dancer that works at the club with Maxine, Bobby Lynn, and her boyfriend Jackson, and RJ, who's going to be directing the film, and his girlfriend Lorraine, who's there to help, and she's also just really shy and quiet. So the group has rented out a guest house that is on the property of the farmhouse that we saw in the opening. When they show up, we see that the farmhouse is owned by this guy Howard, who is a World War veteran, and he has this elderly wife named Pearl. Wayne, when renting the guest house, did not inform Howard of the purpose of them being there, so you can tell that he's pissed when they show up with camera equipment and everything. But he moves on, and the group starts doing their thing and filming their movie, and the first part is a scene with Bobby Lynn and Jackson. While they're filming their scene, Maxine decides to strip and go for a swim in the lake, unaware that there is an alligator in there following her, and it almost gets her. And as she's swimming, we see Pearl watching her from a distance. Pearl becomes kind of fixated with Maxine, and we find out it's because Maxine looks like Pearl when she was younger. Mia Goth does play both Pearl and Maxine, by the way. Howard eventually comes inside and finds that Pearl has brought Maxine indoors, and he panics and throws Maxine out and tells her not to tell anybody. Maxine's like, okay, that's fucking weird, but she moves on, and she and Jackson film a scene for the movie in the barn. As they're filming this scene, we see Pearl watching them secretly, and you can tell she's kind of getting turned on by the whole thing. So this leads Pearl to go to her husband, and she tries to seduce him, but he's like, you know I can't do this because of my heart problems. Like, my heart will not make it. As filming goes on, Lorraine starts getting more interested in this and opening up more. She asks Wayne, like, how are you okay seeing your girlfriend with another man? And he's like, it's just acting, it's not real. Even though they are really having sex because it's a porno. Lorraine is like, I want in. And her boyfriend RJ is absolutely fucking horrified. She does not give a fuck. She decides to be in the film and has sex with Jackson as her boyfriend has to film it. Well, later that night, everybody's asleep and RJ is just devastated, and he decides that he's leaving. He's like, fuck this. As he's trying to leave, he finds Pearl in the driveway, and she tries to make a move on him, and when he rejects her, she brutally stabs him and kills him. A little bit later, Lorraine wakes up to see that RJ isn't there, and she tells Wayne. So they go to look for him, and Wayne searches in the barn, and he looks through this little peephole that he finds, and Pearl proceeds to stab him through the eye with a pitchfork. Meanwhile, as Lorraine is looking for RJ, she runs into Howard, who is like, Pearl has gone missing. Can you please help me find her? So he gets Lorraine to come in the house and asks her to go get a flashlight from the basement. As she goes down there, Howard locks her in, and she finds this naked, mutilated corpse hanging from the ceiling. So we can assume that's what the cops saw in the beginning. So Howard goes to the guest house where he runs into Jackson, and he asks him, can you help me find Pearl? She's missing. So he goes with Howard, and they start searching around the lake, and Jackson sees this car submerged in the water. When he turns around, Howard is standing there, and he shoots him in the chest and kills him. Back in the guest house, Maxine is still asleep, and we see that Pearl is in her room watching her. Eventually, Pearl gets into bed with Maxine and starts caressing her, which causes Maxine to wake up, and she starts screaming. This wakes up Bobby Lynn, and Maxine tells her what happened. Back in the house, we see that Lorraine is still stuck in the basement, but she finds a hatchet and starts trying to break her way through the door. As she puts her hand through to try to unlock the door from the other side, Howard breaks her fingers. So Bobby Lynn and Maxine go to look for everybody else, and Bobby Lynn goes to the lake where she finds Pearl. Bobby Lynn just thinks she's an old woman with dementia. She's like, my grandma gets confused too. Like, come on, let's get you back home. Pearl looks at her and starts berating her before she pushes her in the lake, and she is eaten by the alligator. Howard does eventually find Pearl in the guest house. And Pearl basically begs Howard to have sex with her, even though his heart might not be able to stand it, and they do. We see that Maxine is hiding under the bed as this happens, and she is able to get out while they're distracted. Maxine eventually gets to the van, but she doesn't have the keys, but she does take this pistol that's in there. So she takes it and runs into the farmhouse where she sees Lorraine and lets her free from the basement. Lorraine basically just starts screaming like an idiot, telling Maxine that she hates her, and she goes to run out the front door. She proceeds to be shot and killed by Howard. So Pearl comes in and her and Howard try to move Lorraine's body, but she twitches, which startles Howard and makes him have a heart attack. So Maxine finds the keys to Howard's truck and she confronts Pearl with the pistol, and Pearl is like, help him, he's dying. And Maxine is like, I don't give a fuck. She goes to shoot Pearl, but the pistol is empty. So instead, Pearl picks up Howard's shotgun and goes to shoot Maxine, but the recoil of it flies her back out the door. So Maxine goes outside to Howard's truck and she finds Pearl laying on the ground crying about her broken hip. But Pearl then starts to just berate and insult Maxine, who simply just gets into the truck and backs up over Pearl's head and kills her. Throughout the movie, a couple times we've seen this TV program of this televangelist preaching. It's playing in the background at this point, and he starts talking about his daughter, Maxine. So at this point, we learn that Maxine is his daughter, and that's going to come into play in the third movie. Maxine survives, and she drives away. We cut back to the beginning of the movie where we see the cops showing up and investigating the crime scene. They end up finding RJ's camera, and they speculate what's on it, and one of them says, one goddamn fucked up horror picture, and the movie ends.